The toughest sled dog race in the world kicks off on February 4th from Whitehorse, Yukon to Fairbanks, Alaska. Joining us from Whitehorse, the capital of the Yukon, is the executive director of the Yukon Quest International, Natalie Haltrich. Natalie, first of all, give us a rundown of the long history of the Quest.
4 people, gals and guys, in a bar, the Bullseye Bar in Fairbanks, and they discussed the possibility of 1,000 miles of international wilderness travel through the bush with man, woman, and dog, and that was the beginning. They had, from what I hear, now this was, I was alive in those years, but it was well before my time with this organization, and there was such a great rally of energy and community spirit and support to get that first race going. 34 years later, here we are.
Natalie, with 5 days to go into the Quest, what are trail conditions like right now?
Well, the trail, it commemorates the gold. There's the mail run, part of the mail run through the Yukon, and of course the gold rush history. What I love about this race is it is so tied to this geography. We've got a gold award for the first musher that makes it to Dawson and then finishes the race, and there's your 100+ years of Yukon/Alaska history that's commemorated every year with this race. So it's something that we pride ourselves on. You can't just take this race and bring it to another location. It certainly fits this geography. The geography is part of the race, and the race is part of the geography.
Is it true that King Solomon's Dome is, I think, the toughest part of the trail?
Boy, I'm not a musher, and I bet for some people it is, and I would guess that for some mushers it might be simply because of their experience on that's one of several summits that we have in this race. Eagle Summit is a notoriously challenging summit. American Summit can be a tough one. There's also Rosebud. King Solomon's Dome is the only big summit on our side of the border in the Yukon. The other 3 that I mentioned are in Alaska. So, I bet a musher every musher would give you a different answer with respect to what their toughest experienced place on the race was. But by virtue of being a summit, certainly would have its challenges as well.
The executive director of the Yukon Quest, Natalie Haltrich, joining us on the show this afternoon. Natalie, 5 days to go into the Quest. What are trail conditions like right now?
The nice thing is we've got the 1st Canadian Ranger Patrol Group here on the Yukon side. We are so lucky to work with these men and women. My goodness. And then in Alaska, we've got another crew of volunteer trail breakers. I know more about this side of the border. Last I spoke to our sergeant in charge, he said, Nat, there's no big surprises this year, and that makes me happy. In 34 years, I've been told that the race has, in almost half of 33 races now, I guess, the race is not run on its traditional trail. And that could be a small detour here, a small detour there. Sometimes detours happen mid-race if there's big storms, big snowstorms, big windstorms. This year on the Yukon side, in parts, we can certainly use more snow. But the rivers are solid. The summits have got snow on them, and the jumbo ice, I'm told, is not as challenged as it's been some years. So we're looking at a fairly good trail. I also tell people, they look outside their window here in Whitehorse, and the Yukon River is a little bit open right outside my office here. But I let people know that this is the first mile of 1,000 miles that we're not, they're not snow plowed, they're not maintained. Storms can come in and come out, and what they see outside their window is certainly not necessarily what they'll experience for the next 1,000 miles all the way to Fairbanks.
Natalie Haltrich, Yukon Quest Executive Director, joining us this afternoon. Natalie, for those that have never experienced the Quest, what does it mean for the Yukon and for Alaska?
Oh, God, I moved here, as I was telling you, in 2013, and for myself personally, I heard about this great wilderness adventure by man and dog, and I couldn't wait to be part of it. And since I've been here, I've volunteered in just about every capacity, and here I am now in the ED role, executive director role. And I can say for myself, and I think that I'm shadowing the thoughts of a lot of others, there's such a magic about this event. It's uniquely Yukon, it's uniquely Alaska. It's dogs, which are a big part of our history here, big parts of our First Nation culture. There's so many volunteer opportunities with the Quest that there's a chance for folks to really experience the magic it brings for themselves. So each individual will have a story. They'll bring a story home with them. The community of Whitehorse, we're 30,000 strong. The territory a little bit more than that. So, in these smaller communities in the north, the energy takes over. It's a really exciting buzz. This week, you would laugh. The office is nonstop with, just when you were calling, an old friend from Germany walked in. She comes every year for this, So there's numerous people like Regina who will come into the office at this time of year, really excited to be back in the north to experience one of the best events of their, in their experience. So different things for everyone, but it's a buzz. It's a big thing for us. It's very exciting.
Natalie, I lived in Whitehorse for a few years. I also covered the Quest for a former employer. There's something about taking part in the Quest, whether it be reporting for the Quest or even lining up with thousands of Yukoners. There's something really special about that every year.
When you're a child and you get that feeling that takes over your body, that childish awe, that amazement that I experienced that in 2013, and I felt, my goodness, I haven't had that emotion since I was a little girl. And it almost brings you to tears. It's almost super high adrenaline. It's a little bit of shock. It's excitement. It's that wow-wee feeling. And as an adult, I think I was in my mid-30s at the time, it was such a, it's the, I can't even say it in words, but, between the energy of the dogs, the thrill of knowing that these folks are leaving for 1,000 miles, the sounds of the people and the cheer around you, I can't even put it into words. The other thing that I love about this race is you can travel up trail, and in the Yukon you can go to Braeburn and Carmacks and Pelly Crossing and Dawson and see the race mid-run and watch the dogs and the mushers as they come in, and the beautiful relationship that they have with one another, the musher and dog, and the tending and the care, and be it 2 a.m. on a beautiful, under a beautiful aurora borealis, or 2 p.m. with a big crowd there. The emotion that sets in is just one of a kind, for sure.
If people want to follow the Quest, will it be on TV? Will it be featured on the internet? Where can they follow it?
Boy, I would love it to be on TV. If anyone's listening, come on up and give me a ring. Right now, one of the nice things is you can follow the mushers. They all have GPS trackers on them, so you can click on yukonquest.com and click on Follow the Race Live, and you'll see the progress. Yes, it is a little Yukon Quest dog moving against a map. This year it's a bit of a secret, but I guess I'm letting it out of the bag. We are hoping, and I'm going to say the word hoping, to have a live stream start. You're the first people to hear this. We officially can only test it this Friday. The North has its internet challenges, but we're hoping that we can overcome them. We've got systems in place, and we're really hoping that we can at least live stream the start line, which will start at about 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time this Saturday, and 11 o'clock is the actual go time, first team out of the chute. So that would be really fantastic for us. Feel free to call the office anytime. Certainly follow online. We've got a great PR team that updates social media with videos and photographs and written updates nonstop 24/7 right through to the end of the race. So lots of opportunity. And if you can come up to the Yukon, it used to be a faraway, remote place, but it really isn't anymore. Airline flights are super reasonable. It's a very welcoming territory, and the race would love to see you.